At number 18, I've got the TCU Horned Frogs. So I kind of have TCU here because they made it to the national championship last year. They lost Max Duggan. They lost Quentin Johnston. They both go to the NFL. Quentin Johnston was a number one or a first round pick. And I just see that as being a reason to doubt them severely this season. Again, this is a preseason ranking. This isn't a power ranking for me. This isn't where I think they'll end up. But given what they did last year and combining that to what they're losing from a talent perspective, I've got TCU at number 18. They had such a successful year last year, and nobody thought that they would make the playoffs, let alone beat Michigan. Michigan certainly didn't think they were going to get beat, and that was pretty evident. But I just don't see that being the case this year. I think the Big 12 is better as a conference this year. They won a couple of pretty lucky close games when you really look at it. So, yeah, they're in my top 25. I could honestly see them falling out of the top 25 by the end of the year. I don't really have a good pulse for this team in general. They lose a lot. Again, there's a lot of variables going on in the Big 12 right now. But I couldn't leave them out of my top 25 after finishing 2 overall last year. And with this schedule, I look at it, okay, and let me just give you the last 5 games of the year. Week 8 at Kansas State. They've got a bye week 9. Week 10 at Texas Tech. Week 11, Texas. Week 12, Baylor. And week 13 at Oklahoma. They could easily go 7-0 first 7 games where they've got Colorado, Nick State, Houston, SMU, West Virginia, Iowa State, and then Kansas State. But by the end of the year, they could easily end up being 7-5 after starting 7-0. I think that they'll probably end up getting one of those games. I think they're going to end up 8-4. But this is a pretty tough, later half of the schedule, or later half of the season sort of schedule. So I do have them finishing 8-4 at number 18.
Number 18, TCU. You've already talked on TCU. I think Sonny Dykes is just a really good coach, man. I mean, you can't come in and do what he did last year at a place like TCU and not be a good coach. You got a new offensive coordinator, Kendall Briles, came in from Arkansas. They run the veer and shoot offense. So I think that's going to complement Chandler Morris, who's going to be their quarterback this year. He was supposed to start last year, and of course Duggan. I was forgetting his name there for a second. Chandler had gotten hurt, and Duggan had taken over, and it was almost like a Stetson Bennett and like JT Daniels type thing where it's like, okay, we can't take this guy out. And they rode Duggan all the way to the national championship game, so it was obviously the correct decision. But Chandler Morris was considered to be the better quarterback to start the year last year. So whereas they do lose their offensive coordinator, Riley, he goes to Clemson. Kendall Briles is a great replacement. I feel like that was like a home run switcheroo right there. So I foresee TCU being able to piece together some things. They lost a lot of talent to the NFL. I mean, they had a lot of NFL talent on that team last year, and so they lose those guys. But I feel like they reload in other areas. Not going to go too much in depth on TCU, but I think they're going to go 8-4 this year, and that puts them at the 18th spot